Hi friends, today we'll be discussing about the KCET examination which was conducted in 2026, the biology paper. So let us begin with the first question. In a healthy individual, the glomerular filtration rate is dash 125 ml per minute, 125 ml per hour, 126 ml per minute, 125 ml per second. The answer is 125 ml per minute. So it is 125 ml per minute. A hormone that initiates flowering and synchronizing fruit set in pineapples is. So synchronization of flowering and fruit setting in pineapple is it ethylene, abscisic acid, auxins, gibberellins? The answer is ethylene. Identify the incorrect statement regarding respiratory system in man. Lungs are covered by double layered membrane called pleura. The alveoli are surrounded by rich blood capillaries. The trachea, bronchi, and bronchioles are supported by O-shaped cartilaginous ring. This is an incorrect statement. It should be C-shaped cartilaginous ring. The right lung is slightly larger than the left lung. So the answer is third one is the incorrect statement because it has O-shaped cartilaginous rings. Rather, the answer is C-shaped cartilaginous rings. Consider the following statements with respect to ECG, electrocardiogram, and choose the correct answer. Statement 1. P wave represents the depolarization of ventricles. Statement 2. T wave represents the repolarization of ventricles. So P wave represents the depolarization of ventricles. So statement 1 is wrong, but statement 2 is correct. Reason for that is P wave, they are representing the depolarization of auricles. It is not ventricles. So that is the reason it is a wrong statement. Statement 2 is correct. T wave represents the repolarization of ventricles. Aldosterone from adrenal cortex stimulates the reabsorption of water and sodium ion from. So from which does it stimulate? Is it proximal convoluted tubule, ascending limb of loop of Henle, distal convoluted tubule, or descending limb of loop of Henle? The answer for this is distal convoluted tubule. So aldosterone from adrenal cortex stimulates the reabsorption of water and sodium ion from DCT, distal convoluted tubule. Observe the flow chart with reference to joints and their example. Choose the correct option that matches with the letters given in the boxes. So there are different types of joints. So we had to observe the correct match with it. So the answer is A, cranial sutures, B, cartilaginous joint, C, pivot joint, D is knee joint. So joints, with reference to joints they have asked, so different types of joints are those: cranial sutures, cartilaginous joint, pivot joint, knee joint. Unipolar neurons are found usually in the embryonic stage. They have one axon and one dendrite. They have cell body and one axon. Cell body with one axon and many dendrites. Neither axon nor dendrites. The correct answer is cell body and one axon. Gastrin is a hormone secreted by gastrointestinal tract which stimulates the secretion of hydrochloric acid and pepsinogen, pancreatic enzymes and bile juice, water and bicarbonate ions and pepsinogen. This is from digestion topic. So the answer is hydrochloric acid and pepsinogen. Choose the correct sequence of wall layers in microsporangium of an angiosperm. Correct sequence of wall layers: epidermis, middle layer, endothelium, tapetum. It should be epidermis, endothelium, middle layer, and tapetum. Second option is a correct one. Which of the following statement is or are correct for cleistogamous flowers? A. They have exposed anthers and stigma. They produce assured seed set. They need pollinators for pollination. Variations in traits are not seen in next generation. So, which of the following statement is or are correct? So, the correct statements for cleistogamous flowers are B and D. Reason is cleistoglamous flowers never open, 100% chance for self-pollination, assured seed set in the absence of pollinators. There are no variation in traits in next generation because it is self-pollination. Identify the drug molecule from the skeletal structure shown below. So the diagram isn't there, but the diagram was that of cannabinoid. It is a skeletal structure of cannabinoid molecule. Identify the correct path of milk secretion by the mammary glands. So correct path of milk secretion by the mammary glands: alveoli, mammary duct, ampulla, mammary tubule, lactiferous ducts. So the correct option is alveoli, mammary tubules, mammary duct, ampulla. Finally, it opens through the lactiferous ducts. Alveoli, milk is synthesized. Mammary tubule, it opens, alveoli open into mammary tubule. Ampulla, several mammary ducts converge into wide suction, that is the ampulla. Lactiferous duct, ampulla connects to the lactiferous ducts. The next one is match the items column 1 with column 2. So here column 1 has A acrosome, B head, C middle piece, D is tail. So here we have to match them with their functions. Acrosome 1, 2, 3, 4, you just look into that. Acrosome contains numerous mitochondria which produce energy. No. Facilitates sperm motility? No. Filled with enzymes that help in fertilization? That is correct. A3. B is head. Head, what is it made up of? Contains numerous mitochondria? No. Facilitates sperm motility? Filled with enzymes that help in fertilization? Contains elongated haploid nucleus. Head B is 4. So A3, B4, last option is there, which is correct. So C is middle piece, which will be filled with mitochondria, which produce energy. C1. D is tail, facilitates sperm motility. Which of the following does not produce seminal plasma? Epididymis, bulbourethral glands, seminal vesicles, prostate gland. Which of the following do not produce seminal plasma? The answer is epididymis. Seminal plasma is secreted by accessory glands. So epididymis is not going to produce the seminal plasma. Which of the following sexually transmitted infections are not completely curable? AIDS, both the combinations should not be curable. AIDS, genital warts, chlamydiasis, gonorrhea, genital warts, hepatitis B, AIDS, genital herpes. So completely incurable are fourth one, AIDS, genital herpes. AIDS, genital herpes and hepatitis B are not completely curable STDs. The correct combination which has both of them together is AIDS and genital herpes. Which of the following statement is not true about Saheli, the oral pill? It is a non-steroidal preparation. It is once a week pill. It has low contraceptive value. It has fewer side effect. So it is not true about Saheli. So it is a low contraceptive value is incorrect statement, whereas the remaining are all correct options. A woman unable to conceive after many years of regular unprotected coitus went to a specialized clinic. The woman was found normal while the male partner was diagnosed with infertility due to low sperm count. Suggest the appropriate assisted reproductive technology for this. So zygote intrafallopian transfer, intrauterine insemination, artificial insemination, gamete intrafallopian transfer. So the answer is artificial insemination. The genotypes of husband and wife are IA, IB, and IA, IO among the blood groups of their children. How many different genotypes and phenotypes are possible? So you should identify how many genotypes and phenotypes are possible. So there is genotype IA. For IA possibility, there is 2. So you should do this calculation and look into it. So B also, AB possibility is 1. O possibility is minimum. AB possibilities, A is 2 genotype possibilities. B possibility is only 1 possibility, so totally 3 genotypes. AB possibility is 1. So 4 genotype possibilities. What is the phenotype? If you look into IA, IB, IA, IO, they can be either A blood group, AB blood group, or B blood group. 3 phenotypes, 4 genotypes and 3 phenotypes. So second one is the answer. After the cross, we get the genotypes IA, 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 IB, IA, IO, IB, IO. Therefore, total phenotypes will be 3. So you have A blood group, AB blood group, or B blood group. The classical example of point mutation is hemophilia, sickle cell anemia, cystic fibrosis, phenylketonuria, sickle cell anemia. So wherein a single nitrogenous base change in it causes it. So from GAG to GUG, sickle cell anemia. In sickle cell anemia, the codon GAG, glutamic acid, gets mutated to GUG, valine, at the 6th position. So sickle cell anemia is a classic example for point mutation. Read the following statement. Statement 1, in a typical test cross, an organism shows a dominant phenotype is crossed with the recessive parent. Statement 2, the ratio of dominant and recessive traits in F1 of a test cross indicates the organism with unknown genotype is homozygous dominant. The ratio of dominant and recessive traits is with unknown genotypes is homozygous dominant. Choose the correct option. So here both the statement 1 is true, but statement 2 is false. Statement 1 is correct if test cross shows a ratio of both dominant and recessive trait. It indicates the unknown organism is heterozygous dominant. So statement 1 is correct. So wherein we had told that in a typical test cross, an organism showing a dominant phenotype is crossed with recessive parent. So statement, if test cross shows ratio of both dominant and recessive traits, it indicates the unknown organism is heterozygous dominant. Thalassemia and sickle cell anemia are due to a problem in globin molecule synthesis. Select the correct statement. Sickle cell anemia is due to a quantitative problem of globin molecule. Both are due to qualitative defects in globin chain. Both are due to quantitative defects in globin chain. Thalassemia is due to less synthesis of globin molecules. So here the correct option is 4th. So it is quantitative thalassemia. Sickle cell anemia is qualitative. Okay, thalassemia is a quantitative defect, reduced globin synthesis, while sickle cell anemia is a qualitative defect, structural change in hemoglobin. Which amongst the following scientists had no contribution in the development of double helix model for the uh, structure of DNA? Maurice Wilkins, Rosalind Franklin, Messelson and Stahl, Erwin Chargaff. So answer is Messelson and Stahl's. They put forth the semi-conservative mode of DNA replication, and they had no contribution towards the double helical structure of DNA. In a DNA molecule, cytosine is 28%. If cytosine is 28%, so it's the complementary of cytosine is G, which is also going to be 28%. 28 plus 28, it is going to be 56%. So remaining will be 44%. Adenine and thymine, they are equal. So you divide this 44 by 2, you get 22%. Third option, the percentage of adenine is 22%. Percentage of thymine is also 22%. So cytosine is 28%, guanine is 28%, C plus G is 56%, remaining A plus T is 44%, adenine A equals 22%. Arrange the steps of DNA fingerprinting in sequence. A is digestion of DNA by restriction endonuclease, B is autoradiography, C is blotting of DNA fragments to nitrocellulose membrane, D is isolation of DNA, separation of DNA fragments by electrophoresis. Almost similar question was asked even in NEET. So steps of DNA fingerprinting in sequence. So the first part is, so you have to identify which is the first statement going to be. So isolation of DNA. D. A is digestion of DNA by restriction endonucleases. E is separation of DNA fragments by electrophoresis. C is blotting of DNA fragments to nitrocellulose membrane, and B is there. So third option DAECB is correct for the sequence of it: isolation, digestion, electrophoresis, blotting, autoradiography. Select the statement which is not true about Big Bang theory. Big Bang theory explains about the origin of universe. As universe expanded, the temperature came down. Hydrogen and helium gases formed before the explosion. The gases condensed under gravitation formed the galaxies. So the statement, incorrect statement is hydrogen and helium gases formed before the explosion. That is the incorrect statement. So the gases, the remaining thing, Big Bang theory explains the origin of universe. As universe expanded, the temperature came down. The gases condensed under gravitation formed the galaxies. These are correct statement. But hydrogen and helium gases formed before the explosion is wrong. It formed after the explosion. According to Hugo D. Rice, speciation is mutation theory he put forth. Accumulation of small variations, intraspecific breeding, interspecific breeding, single step large mutation, SALT, what we call it as. So fourth one is the correct answer, single step large mutation. Speciation occurs due to single step large mutation, saltation we call it as. So if you remember that term. Identify the correct order of stages in human evolution. I always tell my students to use draw hens, DRAHENS. D is first Dryopithecus, R is Ramopithecus, H is Homo, A is Australopithecus, H is Homo habilis. In that way, if you take ECABD, ECABD. So the second one is correct option. So remember that mnemonics draw hence DRAHENS, where D is Dryopithecus, R is Ramopithecus, A is Australopithecus, H is Homo habilis, E is Homo erectus, N is Homo neanderthalensis, S is Homo sapiens. That is how you remember all of them in the same sequence. Pollen grains are well preserved as fossils because of the presence of cellulose, sporopollenin, lignocellulose, pectocellulose. It is because of sporopollenin. which is resistant to high temperature, pressure, and even enzyme activity. Sporopollen is the answer. Due to presence of sporopollen in a highly resistant material. The causative organism of pneumonia is Haemophilus influenzae. Wuchereria, they cause filariasis, salmonella, typhoid, trichophyton, probably ringworm. So Haemophilus influenza causes pneumonia. Select the option that contains only secondary lymphoid organs. So primary lymphoid organs, secondary lymphoid organs are where they are going to further mature and proceed. So the answer seems to be the second one. Lymph nodes, appendix, tonsils are all secondary lymphoid organs. Identify the biological response modifier substance which activates the human immune system and helps in destroying the tumor. So alpha, probably the alpha interferon. Alpha interferon activates the immune system and helps in destroying the tumor. The conversion of milk into curd by lactic acid bacteria increases the nutritional value by producing vitamin A, vitamin B12, vitamin C, vitamin D. So vitamin B12, the conversion of milk into curd by lactic acid bacteria increases the nutritional value by producing vitamin B12. So BOD of polluted water is estimated by measuring the amount of biological oxygen demand, by measuring the amount of oxygen consumption. Third one, BOD test measures the rate of uptake of oxygen or oxygen consumption. Given below are two statements. Statement 1, baculoviruses are pathogens that attack nematodes. Statement 2, baculoviruses are used as biological control agents in ecological sensitive areas as they are species specific in their action. So these are the two statements, like baculoviruses, they attack specifically nematodes and they are used as biological control agents. The answer is statement 1 is false, but statement 2 is true. Baculoviruses are used to attack arthropods, not nematodes. Technique to alter the chemistry of genetic materials, DNA and RNA, to introduce this into host organism and change the phenotype of the host. So here it is nothing but genetic engineering. So let us see, manipulation of genes. Altering the genetic material is done by genetic engineering. Statement 1, restriction enzyme BAMH1 has its recognition site in tetracycline region of PBR322. Statement 2, E. coli having PBR322 with a desired DNA, if inserted at BAMH1 site, can grow in medium containing tetracycline. So statement 2 is incorrect, statement 1 is correct, because if you are going to insert a gene, insertional inactivation happens. Since BAMH1 is in tetracycline site, so they are going to be tetracycline resistance is lost. So whenever we grow them in a medium containing tetracycline, the E. coli will be killed. So it is not going to grow in a medium containing tetracycline, it dies in that medium. So both statement 1 and statement 2 are, statement 1 is true but statement 2 is false. If desired DNA inserted at BAMH1 site, it cannot grow in tetracycline. Correct. Statement 1 is true, statement 2 is false, because it cannot grow in tetracycline. Match the list. Visualization of DNA in gel electrophoresis is list 1, lysozyme, then chilled ethanol, ethidium bromide. So visualization of DNA in gel electrophoresis, it is by chitinase or lysozyme? ethidium bromide. A is 4. B. Precipitation of DNA. Chilled ethanol. B3. A4. B3. C. Breaking of cell wall of bacteria. So, breaking of cell wall of bacteria. Lysozyme is correct. D. Breaking of cell wall of fungus. It is chitinase. So, first option is the correct one. A4, B3, C2, D1. The human protein obtained from transgenic animals used to treat emphysema is alpha-1 antitrypsin. So, smoker's lung it is used to treat. So, alpha-1 emphysema is treated by alpha-1 antitrypsin. Given below are the sequences of events in the production of human insulin by Eli Lilly, an American company. Preparation of 2 DNA sequences corresponding to chain A and B of human insulin, production of chain A and chain B separately, introduction of chains in plasmids of E. coli, extraction of chain A and B, combining them by creating disulfide bonds. So A is the first step, preparation of 2 DNA sequences corresponding to chain A and B of human insulin. So, introduction of chains in plasmids of E. coli, production of chain A and B separately, extraction. So, ACBD. So, second option is the correct one. 2 DNA sequences of A and B are separated, introduce them in the plasmids of E. coli. Chain A and B are separately produced, extracted and combined by disulfide bonds. So, ACBD is the correct option. So, given below are two statements. Statement 1, adenosine deaminase is crucial for the immune system to function. Very true. ADA deficiency is caused whenever it is absent. Statement 2, adenosine deaminase deficiency can be cured only by bone marrow transplantation. A permanent cure is possible at the embryonic stage. So, they are all temporary possibility of it. So, let us look into statement 1 is correct and statement 2 is false. ADA deficiency can also be cured by gene therapy, not only by bone marrow transplantation. Which of the following is not correct with reference to exponential growth model? Exponential growth model resources are unlimited, not limited. Population, first one is incorrect. Okay, population growth in a geometric fashion is incorrect. Then a stationary phase is never reached. A population grows beyond carrying capacity. So, which of the following is not correct with reference to exponential growth model? Resources are limited. It should be unlimited. So, correct statement are resources are unlimited in exponential growth model. The following graph represents age pyramid of a population. Identify the correct option representing the status of age pyramids labeled as A, B and C. The diagram is not here. In the original question you can notice A is a stable population. Reason for that is the pre-reproductive phase and reproductive phase, they are the same. Declining population, the pre-reproductive phase will be lesser than reproductive phase. Expanding population, pre-reproductive phase is larger than the reproductive phase. On that basis, noticing that in the diagram, you can identify that. So, the given age pyramids are stable, declining, expanding as per the diagrams. So, the diagrams are not in this question bank. Anyway, check the original question paper and you can notice that. Which one of the following options represents the steps of decomposition in sequence? Here you can remember, I always used to say first language chemistry, FLCHM. So, fragmentation, leaching, catabolism, humification, mineralization. Second option is correct. So FLCHM. So that is how you can remember this mnemonic. Second option is correct. If you notice this overall question paper, I could see that statement questions have been more, match the following are there, and they have also given many questions where they have asked you to arrange the list in a proper sequence. So including this question. Correct sequences: fragmentation, leaching, catabolism, humification, mineralization. The annual net primary productivity of land and ocean respectively are dash and dash. Land and ocean respectively are dash and dash billion tons. You should have marked it up. So it comes to around 115 and 55. So total annual net primary productivity is 170 billion tons. Terrestrial is 115 billion tons. Ocean is 55 billion tons. In a practical examination, a pedigree chart was given as spotter. The student identifies the pedigree chart as. So here that diagram is missing. So you have to look into that and answer it. So the answer for this is autosomal dominant inheritance pattern, because in every generation the condition is seen. So every generation the condition is seen. So it is autosomal dominant, and it is not. It is seen in both male and female. It is not allosomal or sex linked. It is autosomal dominant, since it is seen in both the genders in equal ratio, and not like only females more, or a carrier condition. So we can easily say this as autosomal dominant. Given below are two statements. Statement 1: there is less species biodiversity in tropical latitudes than in temperate region. Statement 2: tropical environments, unlike temperate ones, are less seasonal, relatively more constant and predictable. Statement 1 is wrong. Statement 2 is correct. Statement 2 is correct. Fourth option is right. A student was given a bisexual actinomorphic pentamerous gamosepalous and gamopetalous flowers with 5 stamens in epipetalous condition. So here the floral formula is not given correctly. Just notice that A to 5C, there would be an arrow mark indicating that it is what you call it as the epipetalous condition. So the answer here is EBR, E bracteolate, E bracteate, they don't have bracts. K 5 sepals are fused, corolla 5 petals are fused, andrecium 5 which are attached to corolla, that arrow mark is missing. Gynoecium is bicarpellary and it is superior, they would be fused, and aroma, the dash would be below. A student was asked to identify a permanent slide of mitosis. Observations were splitting of centromere and formation of daughter chromatids, chromatid migrating towards the opposite poles. The stage would be, it would be anaphase. Third one, anaphase. With respect to binomial nomenclature, identify the incorrect statement. Biological names are generally in Latin and written in italics. Correct. First word in the name represents specific epithet, and the second, this is incorrect statements. So second is the incorrect statement. Remaining are all correct. The first word in the name represents genus, and the second component denotes specific epithet. Organism X is a multicellular heterotrophic eukaryote with a chitinous cell wall. In which kingdom will you place it? Monera, multicellular heterotrophic eukaryote with a chitinous cell wall is fungi. So fourth option is fungi. Multicellular heterotrophic eukaryote with chitinous cell wall belongs to kingdom fungi. Read the following statements about Funaria. Funaria is a bryophyte. Gametophyte is the dominant plant body. Yes, correct. Sporophyte is differentiated into foot, setae and capsule. Correct. Gemme are asexual green multicellular buds found on the thallus. The sporophyte has an independent existence is incorrect statement. So here there are statements about Funaria. So they have asked you to find out which is the incorrect statements. So the D is one option. The gemme are asexual green multicellular buds found on the thallus. So the answer for this is A and B. Gametophyte is dominant. So the correct option, sporophyte is differentiated. Gemme are not present in Funaria. Sporophyte is not independent. So here that question was not complete. Like, read the following statements about Funaria. Correct statement, they should have asked it about. Anyway, the correct statements are A, gametophyte is dominant plant body. Sporophyte is differentiated in foot, CET and capsule. Gemme is not seen in Funaria. Sporophyte as independent existence is wrong statement. C and D are wrong. A and B are correct statements. Match the animals in list 1 with their excretory organs in list 2. So A, B, C, D, you just read it. Leech belongs to the Annelida family. Locust, Arthropoda. Then C, liver fluke, it belongs to Platyhelminthes balanoglossus. So here balanoglossus has proboscis gland. So D2. Okay. Then locust, Malpighian tubules. So the flame cells are seen in leech. Liver fluke, leech will be having nephridia. Flame cells are seen in liver fluke. So A3, B4, A3, B4, C1, D2. So third option is correct. Leech, nephridia. Locust, Malpighian tubules. Locust comes under insecta. Liver fluke, flame cells. Balanoglossus, proboscis gland. Identify the flower with polyadelphous condition. Poly means many bundles. Citrus, lemon is an example for that. Citrus plant is the answer. Citrus has polyadelphous condition. Stamens are united into many bundles. Diadelphous, P. Monoadelphous, China rose. So you should remember that. So large empty colorless cells seen on the upper epidermis in grasses, which facilitate the curling of leaves to minimize water loss, are bulliform or motor cells. Second one is the correct answer. So they reduce, bulliform cells help in rolling up of leaves and reduce the water loss. Find the incorrect statement with respect to digestive system of frog. Food is captured by a bilobed tongue. Esophagus is a long tube that opens into the stomach and continues as intestine. Liver secretes bile. So esophagus is a long tube is incorrect statement. Okay. Because they are having a short tube that opens into the stomach and continues as intestine. They are carnivorous animal, and that is a reason for them to have a short tube. So second one is the incorrect statement. It is having a long tube. Esophagus is an incorrect statement. Which of the following is not the function of plasma membrane? Endocytosis, formation of intercellular junctions, secretion. DNA synthesis is the correct. Incorrect is not the function of plasma membrane. Synthesis of DNA is not the function of plasma membrane. A chromosome with an extremely short and a very long arm is called as, it is acrocentric. Answer is a chromosome with one very short arm and one long arm is acrocentric. The following statements are steps in the catalytic action of an enzyme. Arrange them in correct sequence. Active site breaks chemical bonds of the substrate and new enzyme product complex is formed. So we have to see from which list. The substrate binds to the active site of the enzyme. D. That is, substrate binds to the active site of the enzyme. D might be the first statement. The substrate binds tightly to the enzyme, inducing a change in the active site. That is DB A. DBAC. Second option is correct. Correct sequence of enzyme action is substrate binds to the active site of the enzyme. The substrate binds tightly to the enzyme, inducing a change in the active site. Active site breaks chemical bonds of the substrate and new enzyme product complex is formed. Last option is the enzyme releases the product and free enzyme is ready to bind to another substrate. Again, you can see arrange them in proper sequence question. So DBAC is a correct option. A diploid cell which has 8 chromosomes undergoes meiosis and produces 4 daughter cells. What is the number of chromosomes in each daughter cells at the end of meiosis 1? 8 chromosomes, so they are going to have 4 chromosomes, because after meiosis 1 itself you find that there is ploidy level gets decreased. In anaphase 1 there is separation of homologous chromosomes, because of which in each cell that is formed they have 4 chromosomes each, but there is no separation of sister chromatids. So 4 chromosomes is the answer, second one. Diploid 8 becomes haploid 4 after meiosis 1. Cellulose is an important structural component in plant which is made up of glucose. It is a homopolymer of glucose. Cellulose is made up of beta glucose units. So that completes a complete discussion of KCET Biology 2026, and finally stating that the question paper was interesting, and they had focused more on arrange the options in correct sequences. Statement questions were there. Then there were also match the following. Assertion and reason was less. Diagram oriented questions were there. Unfortunately, some of the diagrams I couldn't include in the slides. So overall the paper is average difficult it is. Okay. So if you have liked this video and have learned information from this, like the video and share it with your friends so that they can get benefited. Thank you all. So God bless you all for your CET preparation and counseling. Thank you.